Here is a typical question that's been asked in one of the forums. I'm taking inspiration from there, and I'm going to put the question with non-filtered so you will get the most benefit out of it. And then I will put my view and then try to provide inputs. I'm a partner at a VC firm, venture capital firm. We invested in a founder who is a visionary but a terrible and abusive manager. The company is a unicorn on paper for our 2026 fund return. Replacing him would crater the valuation. My fiduciary duty is to my LPs, the local partners. In this case, it seems that the major LP is a pension fund. My human duty is to the employees suffering, and I had coaching conversations and tried everything I could. They don't stick. What's the suggestion? What's the best move? Given within the framework of MayaNess, Mayanomics, and Karma Yoga. Do I orchestrate a founder-led transition with a hefty golden parachute, basically rewarding the founder for bad behavior? Or do I force a coup and risk entire investment? How do I calculate the karma of protecting 100 jobs versus securing 1,000 pensioners later? Okay. So I'm going to take a few, pointers from the 32 list that I prescribed. But then, you can't really provide an answer to such a complex problem only by a list of 32. I'm going to go beyond that. Okay. The very first thing is, life is a mix of justice and injustice, right? You are not God. You are not the purest form to make any judgment based on what is justice and what is injustice. You are making some kind of a derivation based on the cases presented to you, but you are looking at from one perspective, right? And then looking at, kind of an injustice, not deriving at justice and injustice, correct, from those perspectives. Who are you to make a decision, right? If you make, are you making a decision as a creator, the karta, or the purest form, the God, and then looking at this as right thing versus wrong thing? Right? You have to first get that out of your mind. You are put in this world for achieving some purposes, same as your employees, same as the lousy or terrible manager, right? Everybody is given a bunch of chips to play, right? The karma chips. Everybody will be driven by the purpose in their own life. How they play, whether you look at that from a point of view of whether it is a good play or bad play or justice or injustice, you are not there to decide unless you want to play God, right? In this case, how you move forward, how you handle this in this situation. That's why that's why I'm here for, right? So, very first thing, right? As I said, remove yourself from the place of karta, place of God. Okay. look at yourself as one of the players, and you do your duty. What is your purpose? Okay. The most there are a lot of things that you can convince yourself. I can try to convince yourself, right? You probably are not going to get convinced, right? But other than only one thing, as I told in the earlier session, gratitude. Gratitude supersedes all. If you don't justify things, if you could not come to any conclusion on a decision or in such a complex situation, you go back to gratitude. Okay, to whom you are grateful for in this situation? Okay, the gratitude. Is it the employees or the investor? Who came first? Who created mandate for you? Who provided the opportunities that you probably deserve as a fund manager? You see millions and millions of fund managers out there, funds out there, the VC funds. You got an opportunity by an anchor fund or pension fund. Somebody put a trust on you. Okay, 1,000 pensioners. They come later, or it doesn't really matter. You should be grateful for the LP. You have to first take care of the LP's interest. Okay. I wish I can put a very beautiful spin on it. You need to be you need to take care of the 100 employees of the firm. Blah blah blah. Everybody matters and all. But then those are players. Okay, they are players. Your pensioners are the pensioners who put their fund into the pension fund and who indirectly are relying on you. They're not players in this whole situation. Okay, they are not players. That means you have to first take care of it. You are representing them only. The employees represents themselves. Which world we are living? Employees can quit, right? I know you may think that employees would quit and the company will go down. No, not necessarily, right? Most of the employees are going to stick around because they are driven by their own purpose in their life. They have loved ones. They have families to take care. They may adjust. Okay, everybody has a tipping point, right? Until then, they would survive, and they will figure out a way. You continue your training with them, and you take them aside. Okay, instead of trying to preach your manager, you continue to do that as well. Try to change the manager, in the sense manager's attitude, and if he's very effective in what he's doing, right? You can't really let him go. As you rightly said, it's going to be dangerous. So continue training him or her, and continue working with compensating your employees, and unless until it goes completely out of control, somebody's really got abused, of course you take action on those abusive things, but take one case at a time. Don't try to aggregate everything and come to justice injustice kind of evaluation, and try to conclude in a collective way. Approach each in an individual way, and continue the training, continue the counseling, and but never forget gratitude. The next two questions are interrelated, so I'm going to put both the questions in front of you, and then I'm going to guide you through the perspective of both the stakeholders, and that would help both of them. First, a senior manager from a bank, investment bank. We are taking a company in public in 2026, and the CEO is insisting on aggressive revenue recognition adjustment to make the growth curve more attractive for the IPO. It's within the GAAP GAAP standard, barely. It is my job to make CEO look like a hero. My compliance department has a yellow lighted it. Pressing go set the tone for the culture of spin. Pushing back labels to me not as a team player, and lose the mandate. What is the life strategy for navigating through this gray zone? The second question is, another senior executive. I have reached a tipping point. I'm kind of done with my earning. I accumulated enough money. My 2026 goal is to retire, but my entire identity as a managing director, my calendar of pitches and dinners in my skeleton. Without it, I feel nothing. The thought of not having the Bloomberg terminal on fills me with dread, not joy. This seems like a human engineering failure. How do I use the next 18 months to systematically dismantle my banker identity, to transition into a normality, gradual rituals? So if I could able to answer the second one for the retired, the banker who is going to retire, you get the answer for the banker who is now in the midst of helping a CEO to go IPO, right? So essentially, when you drive yourself with a purpose and keep building good deeds on the process, you are building capsules of karma, right? Good deeds, good karmas. So eventually, uh, the the consciousness, we talked about the inner conscious mind. Your inner conscious mind is very, very beautiful, and it is naive, and it's pure, right? It's going to keep telling you later in your life, right? Keep reflecting everything, right? Keep reminding you of the good and bad things you did. So what you become is more important, right, than what you get. We saw that as part of the list of 32 items, right? So you can accumulate wealth towards retirement, but will you be able to enjoy the retirement? Will you be able to make use of the entire time during the retirement time? Okay, it's just going to be pathetic. But if you are not able to enjoy the money that you accumulated, you are neither successful in the first half of the life and nor successful in the second half of your life as well. And in fact, second half is going to haunt you more, and you're going to have a very, very pathetic end, towards to the tapering end of your life, right? So what you do right now, each things that you do, would should be more purposeful. Okay, it has to build positive inputs to your mind, the sense of accomplishments in your mind. Okay, and it should do have it should build good feelings of not just the accomplishment, but also feeling of gratitude, feeling of mercy, and everything, right? It's going to come back and haunt you later, as I said. So if you are in the middle of deals like this, as a senior manager, if you want to, if you are pulled into a situation where the CEO is pushing for aggressive revenue recognition, right, adjustment, then you should not go with it. Okay, in my opinion, no. Because the first of all, a lot of people, especially when the IPO, right, initial public offering, that means you are going to be, your actions are going to destroy the hopes, in fact, maybe hundreds and thousands of dollars or even millions of dollars of those people who, simple common people who actually trust on the stock market and investing the money. Maybe IPO, a lot of institutions enter, but behind every institution there are retirement funds, there are other retailers coming together, right? So your action, right, and the CEO is highly selfish and self-centered in this case, right? He or she wants to be looking like a hero, but that's not what you should be focusing on, right? The image of heroes should be built over a period of time by the people, right, who is coming directly in contact and evaluate every action with the result over a period of time to actually accept somebody as a hero. Becoming a hero or projecting somebody as a hero through deception is neither good for the person, and you definitely should refrain from such kind of projection. You may say that these things are quite common in the industry, right? As long as your numbers can be crunched and you are truthful to the books, you should be fine. But that's kind of washing the hands out of the responsibility. Eventually, your purpose in life will be lost, and you will end up having the same thing like the other CEO, other banker who is going to retire and not having, not able to take away all the things that that's been bugging his mind in terms of the identity, right? So your identity, when you are moving away from one identity to the other identity after retirement, or even during the retirement, you always maybe moving from one job to the other job. The transition should not, you should not take a lot of bad karma with you, a lot of bad thoughts, with you. It's going to haunt you. You have to live within yourself, right? Your inner conscious mind, your inner engineering will be broken. Your internal architecture is, if that is broken, and you can't really create processes, you can't be a player, you cannot even have a personal retired life, peacefully. It's all going to be a big mess eventually. So be cautious and put a priority of internal life strategy as an architecture. Drive it, the purpose. Validate every business actions that you take. Be part of every deal. You have to go through this validation cycle of the internal architecture, not based on the current state of your mind, but the subsequent future states, right? Because life is a continuum. You as a continuum. Your soul is a continuum. Everything has to go in tandem together.
The next question. A lobbyist for a cause I deeply believe in, like clean energy, just offered to host a fundraiser to my 2026 re-election campaign. The amount would be decisive. The catch is, I must also agree to co-sponsor a poison pill amendment from their ally on an unrelated bill, an amendment that hurts a vulnerable community. I also care for that community and stand for their cause. How do I handle this conflict? Okay, this is a classical political trait. The spiritual philosophy might tell you the all life is interconnected, so karma will catch up with you. So you cannot support one cause by betraying the other cause, right? This dilemma exists in everybody's life at every scenario, right? And this is where the art of karma yoga comes in. See, you are engineer, right? You are not God. Again, I insist the point, right? You can make the life be good for everybody, right? What you do every day basis, right? It's going to be beneficial for some people and it's going to be hurting some people. Everything that you do in life, right? That's how life, that's how the universe is built. So the cosmic, a part of the cosmic, right? You can't, overall the cosmic cancels out, but then individually, whatever you do, certain things will have negative polarity, certain things will have positive polarity, right? Now the how to resolve this? The resolution can only come by putting a boundary of play, right? Take this as a game or a war, right? The rules of the war and the engagement of the war within the war, the war field and the stakeholders, right? That's how you are to determine. You can't really expand the scope of this, the specific war that you are playing to global. Within the play, within the war that you are being forced to fight, you have to. There will be sometimes there are some people who are being identified enemies, some people who are confidants, tools needs to be used, weapons needs to be used. So it has to be approached from the from the perception of playing or waging a war. You need to have a validation, right? When you set a goal, right, and the goal, the benefit or the outcome of the goal may help some people or may hurt some people, right? But you ought to ask the question: Who are you in the position to judge the outcome? Okay, judge the action itself, right? Or are you in a position to judge your actions, what you are supposed to do? Are you supposed to evaluate every step that you every action that you take when you are in the middle of the war? You know that very well, right? In the middle of the war, I'm sorry to bring war as an analogy, but many times war has to be understood as a war happening in our mind. Okay, it's good to have these kind of conflicts and wars in our mind, and this has to be approached exactly from that perspective. In the middle of the war, you can't afford to think, correct? War has to progress quickly, right? Quick action and reactions. So when you approach, you are not, that's where you hand over the judgment to greater good, right? Almighty. And you do the role play, right? Form an avatar and do the role play. And if you are to always choose a side, go with the side who you are loyal to, right? Who you are grateful to, correct? You can be good for every stakeholders out there, right? You have to, within the boundary of your war zone or the play, there you decide the good people, bad people, stakeholders, good stakeholders, bad stakeholders, right cause, wrong cause, within that only, okay? Within the sub, don't go to the sigma, go to the sub entity and only make a derivation from that perspective, right? So there's always going to be cost, the cost of doing things, right, over a period of time. So analyze what you do is going to, is it based on the price or is on the cost? So even if you have to pay a small price in the beginning, on the cost side, you look at from the long perspective, it may be good. So if your stakeholder is the community, if community is much closer to you and you care for them, then play for them, right? Take the avatar that would help them out, right? But community is a vague thing. Community is what? Made of people. People change their minds all the time. People not necessarily be good state of mind all the time. They keep changing, right? So the community, what you are describing today or this moment, may not be the same community tomorrow. Then you will be left in the in limbo, right, for making a decision specifically for them, right? So be careful there. So when you are taking your stakeholders, who you are playing it for? First, are you playing for the people who you are grateful to, or people who are people who are grateful to you? You are grateful to them, and they are grateful to you. That should be the way. You pick and choose your stakeholders. If there is a community, means a bunch of people coming together. There's also collectively community will sound very good, but then it may get disintegrated very soon. So the decision that you made, thinking that you are supporting a community, probably may go invalid within the next few months. So I would rather ask you to do the deep dive analysis, take the deal, right? As long as it doesn't, it supports the deal is going to support the costing of the deal is going to be beneficial for a larger good, for a larger cost. Then take the deal. The diplomacy is all about taking the deal. You can be trying to be good for all. Take the side, and you always do the personal detachment from every decision that you make. So anything that the rules applied when you are waging the war, in the middle of the war, doesn't apply coming back home at the evening, right? So you have to leave everything at the war field. Same way, leave all those things when you are off the project. Each one of these are projects, right? So when you are doing it for the sake of the project, you're doing the role play. When you're out, then you only focus on your internal cleansing mechanism of your soul. So just be a karma yogic, right? You will be fine. The next two questions I'm going to combine to approach from the axis, one axis. Right? The first question, this is from a lawyer. I'm a top tier litigation partner. My zone is adversarial combat in court, but the firm's 2026 strategy is multidisciplinary solution and client collaboration. My valued skill is becoming a liability. I'm 52. The thought of learning to be collaborative feels like learning to be right-handed. This is identity crisis. What does spiritual transformation look like? Right, to look like a person built on winning arguments. The second question is from a hedge fund manager. My edge has always been relentless 24/7 intensity as a hedge fund manager. I'm now diagnosed with hypertension. My doctor says change your life. My investors expect the same results. How can I get help from the yogic perspective? So why I combine these two under one axis is both questions has one problem in common. Both are approaching based on others asking them to do things, right? Instead of they are putting others' perspective and then say, what can I do, right? Something has happened in their life because something is changed by others, or some others are suggesting, others are pushing or running your life for the change, right? That's why it's so important to I combine these two together. So the core answer is, first of all, you should look at your situation from others' perspective. Look at from inwards. What do you want to do, right? What makes you happy? What makes you joyful? What makes you going to be continue to have the feel of accomplishment in life moving forward from whether this situation right now you are going through can resolve by itself or not. What happens to you internally, or how you handle what happens to you moving forward, is going to determine rest of your life even beyond 2026, right? So that's the first thing you need to address. You need to work on your internal. If you don't have any blueprint for your life, your personal mission statement, your architecture for your life and life strategy, you have to get to the to the bottom of it and start working out right, the blueprint for your life. To get more specific, let's take the lawyer perspective. So the dilemma is the management change. Now you like to continue to go to the courtroom and win the cases, right? This brings to me something happened in one of the cases. As an entrepreneur, I was, my business was sued by somebody, and I was, my lawyer, and we had long conversations, and I like to win, and he likes to win too, right? So I asked him, let's move forward and, move forward with the case, taking it to the court. He said, see, Suresh, this is what, as a lawyer, as a lawyer, I love to go to the court and win the case. Or, I love it. Okay, but then, what is the cost for your business, right, or your life? You have to look at it from that perspective. I will win the case after you lose your time, your energy, and potentially money, a lot more money than what you would say, right? So winning of the courtroom is much more wiser to do it, right? Why I'm bringing this is, as a lawyer, you already know it, right? It's not about winning them all, right? It's not about the arguing. Probably you are passionate about it. There's no doubt, but then look at from the perspective of, the diplomacy outside the courtroom, right? Why most of the judges still ask in the civil cases mostly, or you opt for out of the court settlements, right? Because what is the point in all these arguments, correct? You may enjoy those arguments. What is the ultimate purpose, right? Resolution of disputes, right? And making things, making standing up for a cause. If you could be able to win without argument through diplomacy, that would be beautiful, right? Look at from that perspective, you'll probably find a commonness, or you can even negotiate with your company to make your new job more interesting and challenging. Coming to the hedge fund managers, point of view. So yes, you got into hypertension because people are keeping you at the edge. You are talking from the hedge fund, your stakeholders, your investors' perspective. They wanted returns. Of course, all the investors would definitely want you to keep running and keeping them at the same level of returns, right? But then your doctor says change your life. Neither of them are, can make a decision for your life, right? It's you who has to decide whether you enjoy the game of, playing on investments, making your stakeholders happy, giving enough returns for your stakeholders. What keeps you going? Okay, do some inner engineering validation. What something is keeping you, you got hypertension because you are pursuing, right, relentlessly on something, right? Otherwise, if you are bored, you have the boredom, and if you are not doing anything, then you won't get the hypertension, right? So that means you did enjoy your ride, right? That kept you very busy. If you really like what you do, and the tension is the only thing, probably the anxiety is a reason for the hypertension. So probably you need to, not probably, actually you need to practice the act of karma yoga, attachment and detachment. You have to introduce, in your life as a hedge fund manager, as long as you wanted to continue to play as a hedge fund manager, you should continue to do it. Doctors are not God. They probably are not going to change everything. Of course, they are not wrong. They are concerned. They are doing their job of keeping one aspect of your life, basically bringing down the tension, right? So that they can save your life. That's their purpose. They are driven by their purpose. But your purpose is different. Changing your life into something else which you don't enjoy, probably, you may end up dying faster than this. Okay? Because it's not easy to, be something else which you don't enjoy. So find your inner calling and do more inner validation. Practice the attachment and detachment. Bring more stakeholders. Be grateful, bring more people into your game, expand your scope of your rest of your hedge fund life, including philanthropic activities and other non-profit activities. Probably you have to split your time between value-based investments and impact investments, right? Being part of impact projects, being part of public-private partnerships and special purpose projects that would serve a larger cause, right? Would ease your tension, because you're spreading your tension to all other entities and sharing and joy and benefit of that project. The next question is from a diplomat. As a diplomat, I'm posed in a country where the ruling regime is corrupt and oppressive. To do my job effectively and gather intelligence, I am required to socialize with and flatter these officials. My children at the international school see me laughing with them at the parties, etc. The last week, my son asked me, "Dad, why are you friends with bad people?" I had no idea. I have no answer how to reply him. How how do I handle, right? How do I engineer a personal mantra, or do a daily cleansing ritual to separate my role from the self I am? Okay, so this is the pretty much every diplomats, policymakers, and legislators and leaders around the world come across such things, right? The world of politics, diplomacy, right, require you to do certain things which internally you may not agree. So I understand the dilemma, right? How to detach, how to still keep the sanity of your self-consciousness, but doing the role play. You see, the you as a pure Atma, the soul, always long for purity. So self-cleansing can be, it should be a continuous process, right? Regardless of what happens from outside. There is an internal world and there is an external world. Right? In the external world, you do the role play. You take a copy of yourself, what we call avatar. Right? So avatars often created for a specific purpose, specific set of actions, for a set, specific need. Right? You are not your avatar. Okay, you need to have that mind discipline, right? Separate your avatar, right, from you. You feed into the avatar, train your avatar, give enough skills for the avatar to imagine avatar is like a robot, right? Do everything, teach it, right? But you don't have to bring out the emotional results back into yourself. Okay? Send it to play the diplomacy. In the world of diplomacy, right, it's not about winning, losing, or it's not about good, bad, or coming to judgments, right? It's very complex in the world of politics to jump into any kind of a judgment. Any judgment you come up with, it might sound good in certain aspects, but on long run, your decision may look very bad decision, especially on people, right? Everybody do the same thing. Everybody within the regime that you are talking about also are playing their roles, right? They probably have the same mechanism developed for detaching themselves from the avatars they play. So remember this, you are only creating avatars that goes and play, right? And moral values, right, has a lot of complex meaning, right? What seems immoral from a smaller group of stakeholders probably may not be seen that way when you are sampling, for a larger group of stakeholders, right? So it's all about, where you, for what the boundary that you set for the play, right? For the diplomatic play, the goals, the stakeholders, and the due process within the play, correct? So each one of the diplomacy, there is a complex overall diplomacy, and probably this would help you. Throughout your tenure as a diplomat, you should not try to conduct yourself into only one avatar. I'm a diplomat as an avatar. No, that's not what I'm suggesting, right? That probably again would be very difficult for you to, cope upon or manage. It's because it may merge with your personal self. The avatar should be designed based on scenarios. Okay, the persona and the scenario, right? Actor and the use case. So there is a use case. So you have to design in your career, or your assignment that is given to you. Design the assignment, right? First, design the architecture of your assignment. Okay. Within the architectural blueprint of the assignment, you identify the personas, multiple personas, and you start doing those personas as a role play, as a diplomat, taking up each one of those roles as and when needed, right? And that will leave, kind of give you a big edge in terms of you detaching yourself from the situations that you are, playing the diplomacy with. So create multiple avatars, do multiple role plays, never bring the emotional things back into it. Always, do it for the larger cause, right? As long as each one of these role plays are played for causes, and those causes are giving cumulative effect, which is going to be good for a larger cause, right? then what you can do, play each one of these roles, right, guilt free, right? So you need to sit and do a larger scale architecture, and plan for your entire project, through the cycle of the project. So your plan must be part of the larger plan, as long as it helps, for the larger good, right? Even the regime itself, right, might be bad, but what they are standing up for could be a good cause, correct? So what people look at them, part of the people looking at the regime, maybe looking at based on certain viewpoints, right? But then on the larger viewpoint, or other viewpoints, the regime and the rulers, they seem to be oppressive. Yes, that oppressiveness is bad, but can you tolerate it, right? Because the goals are, at large, are good for larger number of stakeholders for a longer period of time. Right? That's the process you need to go through. So cleansing process, regardless of this, right? You do the role play at work, but then cleansing yourself is any way you do it, as I said, as a part of your life, whether you are a diplomat or a CXO or anybody, right? Cleansing your inner soul should be part of your life anyway. As I do, yoga, I practice more than 25 asanas. That helps a lot regularly. And then I do some meditation, and to some extent Kundalini kind of rigorous ones, but not too much, because you have to play your role in this world before you get deeper into the spiritual world, right? Cleansing is part of your life. The next question about startup exit, successful startup exit by the founder. My startup is being acquired. The final term is a 4 years golden handcuff, retention bonus for me, paid out monthly. If I leave, I forfeit them all. I'm 35, burned out, and my spiritual transformation journey is screaming for a 2 year sabbatical. My financial planner says walking away is irresponsible and would jeopardize my 2026 net worth by 40% or more. My inner voice says staying will jeopardize my sanity. Goal setting here seems binary: wealth or well-being. Does your framework provide any support to have a balance? Yes, of course. Right. There is a third option, right, which is very, very holistic. By practicing, first of all, before getting into it, I wanted to point out one thing. You need to get to the bottom of the final term, right? The 4 year golden handcuff. Why the buyer of your startup, the company that or a investment firm or PE firm that acquired your startup, why did they put that 4 years term? First, you should begin from digging deeper. I know it sounds like bad, like golden handcuff and all these terms, but what really you need to look into is when somebody has honored you, right, respected you, handing over a big win for your hard work by acquiring your company. It's a great thing, right? It's a very big thing. Most of the people, right, most of the startups fail. Most of the founders would be happy to take up the position that you are right now in. Right? What most? More than 95% of the people, the startup entrepreneurs will take it, the position that you are currently in. It's amazing. Somebody, gave you a path to celebrate success in life, financial success, right? I don't consider financial success as the only success. Of course, financial success is part of the major part of your life. If you look into the MayaNess model, we have 7 aspects of life, right, derived from my mentor Zig Ziglar and my Karma Yoga principles and the preachings from Gita. So all the aspects put together the MayaNess framework of 7 aspects of life success. So financial success is not all. We'll come back to that quickly. Let me finish this part. You need to be very grateful. First of all, gratitude, right? Again, back to the gratitude. You need to be grateful that somebody got you off the hook of ever-ending chasing success, financial success in your life by declaring you as a winner, right? Once you successfully sell the first company, right, chances are more that you're going to repeat easily over and over again, and you're going to be, highly successful in accumulating wealth. So, first, complete the job for them. Okay, enterprises, the business and enterprises are continuum. They don't, you can't put a termination thing to it, right? Saying that, okay, I sold the company, that's it. They will, from that point forward, they will take it forward, and they're going to be successful. What worked for you, not necessarily going to work for the new environment, right? No matter what best CEO they put in place of you, the chances are more the business is going to fail. So this is the analogy I always bring in, right? The company is like company and the entrepreneur or like the horse and the rider, right? They should have a relationship with each other. And good horse, very winning horse probably would not win with a bad rider riding on it. The best rider in the world still may not win the race if he or she was handed over with the horse that's not compatible, right? So that's where the company and the entrepreneur relationship comes in. So in order to have a transition period, right, the 4 years is very reasonable for you to be there and enjoy the ride. You find another way to extend, right? Negotiate with the new management to have a better make the model your new career model, the business model, and your personal life modeling, do that modeling together so that in fact you can turn this thing around. If you are left, I can assure you, if you quit and thinking that you're going for sabbatical or you are going to go through spiritual journey, simply quitting, no. Spiritual journey is much more hard than the material world, right? So you need to prepare yourself, right, mentally, spiritually, to get into the path of enjoying the other world, right? So it's just not going to work switch off, switch on, right? You can't do that. You'll end up being pathetic, neither here nor there situation. So 4 years, take it as an opportunity to condition your mind, condition your life, right, and negotiate with the company to create a new model that would work for you and work for them, right? And it's doable. And the inner engineering can help you. Actually, you go into more inner engineering, and that can help you to feedback into the company, and the buyer would love it, right? So you have declared yourself successful, but then the company that acquired your startup needs to declare their success, and it might take even more than 4 years. At least 4 years you continue as being part of their journey, right? Nothing wrong in being part of other person's, helping other person's goal. You align your goals for their goals. Now, major part of your next 4 years goal with their goals, right? And ask them to align with your goals. So you both, you can have a parallel journey, right? And your transitioning period will be very beautiful. Then after 4 years, you're going to have a very clear mandate for the rest of your life to repeat the success as well as pursue your spiritual and mind journey.
Okay, the next question is pretty much similar to the previous one, but kind of unique in its own way. Core conflict of a modern private equity. This happens quite often. My private equity specializes in distressed assets. We are looking at a family owned manufacturer our standard playbook: buy it, separate the real estate, offshore the manufacturing, load it with the debt, and flip it in 3 to 5 years. It's legal and highly profitable. I drove by the town, it's already dying. That the factory is the heart of it. My 2026 carry is tied to this fund's performance. My meditation practice is making me physically ill when I model the layoffs. What is the capsule for? Conscious leverage buyout. Is that a third way that delivers top quartile returns and leaves the community intact? Or am I in the wrong business? First, let me address the last part. Is there a third way out? Sure, that should be your priority. I don't know. I may have to really evaluate if I'm your consultant and advisor, and I have to evaluate the situation of the business, the business architecture, the market, everything that needs to be analyzed in order to really advise you for the third way. And I would prefer, right, if everybody can win in a deal. That's the best deal. But usually that doesn't exist, right? One person's or one group's loss is another group's gain. So the basic fundamental of your balance sheet tells you that, right? So you just can't really approach the whole thing from the perspective of whether the practice itself is right or wrong. Okay. The second point, most important point I want you to understand is you love people. You apply emotions on people, but not the things, right? Non-living things. Business is a non-living thing. Business can feed people, take care of people, but then business itself is an ego. It's an illusion. It's a Maya created through. It's a projection of your and your investors and other people's ego as a business, including your private equity, right? Same thing, the factory, right? Factory has no life. The people working for the factory brings life to it, right? But then factory itself is a non-living thing. Okay? Keep that in mind. And you are, for time being, the owners of the factory kind of applied God by creating things, right? God didn't ask them to, create a factory. It's from their own purpose in life, or combined with the ego and other aspects, right? I'm positive ego. I would try to spin around the ego with a good feeling is positive ego, right? So they created the factory, okay, and workers came to the factory with their own purposes in life. They have their own targets in life. They are driven by their own causes, right? Nobody is attached to these things. Okay? In the art of karma yoga, attachment and detachment, that's the most important thing, right? You attach to the purpose, the process, the goal, right? But never attach to the benefit or basically the outcome, whatever it could be, right? So you need to leave those factory workers for them to make a decision on their life. It's not that they are born for this factory, right? Factories are only recent concept, right? Within the last 200 years in the industrial age. Before that, people were, in the business of tendering, right? If somebody is selling a vegetable today, they may not like it and they may quit that vegetable selling and get into selling flowers tomorrow. That was a life, right? It's still life for a lot of small businesses. You always can quit things. The workers have choices to, move away from what they do, from the factory, right? If the factory is closing down, of course you have to be reasonable in terms of giving enough compensation, enough time for people to find other jobs. So you work with the founders to do all these due process, correct? Never deny the due process. As long as you are providing opportunity, respecting individuals, their life and give them opportunity to relocate themselves. Don't take away anything suddenly. Give enough time. Spend part of your I know you make money on the carry, and a little bit, you accept a little bit of part of that carry is to give back to the society, to the community, in one way or the other, right? But don't get carried away with oh, I don't like to see the factory as a ghost city. I've seen many ghost cities. I lived in West Virginia, where I've seen many ghost factories, right? But the era is over. You're not the creator. You can't really bring back those things, life, around a city or a town. These things are transformational in nature, right? Factories appearing in one part of the world for some time, would eventually die out, because there is other part of the world. People are having a different goals, different purpose in life. The cost structure, everything plays together to make it, right. So people are not going to die unless you are, it is very distressful, very, very bad situation. You didn't play nicely, and you are risking a lot of people's life. Then is a problem. But otherwise, it should be the part of the game. You have to be driven by your purpose, not somebody else's purpose. Okay, but in spite of these things, if you feel right, you feel that if you are in the wrong business, you don't like it, you don't like to displace people, you don't like, you want to play god, to give stability to individuals life. Remember, nobody's going to really appreciate you on a long term basis. They will forget you, right. People have the tendency to just simply forget, you may be grateful, you wanted to do good thing for them, but then people are not grateful anyway, right. So they, even if they are grateful, how long they will be grateful to what you did? They're going to move on. A factory worker getting better opportunity will move on anyway. The same, group of people, the family business might, stop the factory and, or dismantle the factory, if they have a different purpose, right? If you're driven by different goals, so you have nothing to do with all these things. You play your role, right? You said you have a set of purposes. You act yourself as a karma yogi, do your duty, and live a guilt-free life. Okay. In spite of all these things, if it bothers you, of course, you should move on with other types of businesses. But remember this: whatever the business you do, this is going to keep popping up in that business one way or the other. So fundamental thing is to stick to the karma yogic principle. Bye.
The next question is from CTO of AI company. To hit our 2026 AI roadmap, I need to aggressively hire from competitors and push my team to work 70 hours sprints. This will create burnout and a toxic mercenary culture, exactly opposite of the innovation culture that we preach. I have been on the other side of that burnout. How do I engineer high performance without such kind of a burnout? Is there any physical yoga or kind of work sprint integration model? Can I mandate no meeting Wednesdays, recharge blocks, and still be hit the insane deliverables? Okay, to answer this question, one must understand when it comes to project is a Turing complete thing by itself, right? What do I mean that? Project should be seen as entity by itself. Without projects, right, the humanity and the human development, the world would kind of go backwards or never progress. So almost every project, right, will have to be treated as a world by itself. And in that world, there are many stakeholders and there are targets, right, to keep building concrete things to keep the world going. So when it comes to project, there's no other rules other than making the project successful. Okay. Yes, sometimes smart work, sometimes hard work, and sometimes just sheer presence of human, burning out their time. Right. It's all combination of everything. We all been there. I've been in the tech world for over 25 years, been part of many projects, but I'm part of many product development. And there are multiple models by which you can execute a project, right? So I'm not going to get into those things which you already know within the corporate, whether you're going to get into the better sprint model, or you're going to do the agile model, or whatever it is, right? Let me only address the part of the human engineering. Every human needs growth, right? Growth needs opportunity. Right? Success comes when preparation meets meeting opportunity. So almost every human, right, is engineered for success, and everybody is born for a purpose. And most of the time, people keep wandering from one opportunity to other opportunity to actually find their own inner calling and the purpose. So, in my opinion, when a team is highly spirited, right, with so much of energy to work together, bringing that energy, burnout does not have any meaning. What is burnout, right? Burning the time? Anyway, people lose time, right? Whether you are going to burn out by going to your time by going to a gym, or burning out by running, or burning out by working, what difference does it make, right? You have to, live life. When you live, if you have to live life and you have to be uh, happy, joyful, and have a feeling of accomplishment in life, why do you care for being, as long as your health permits, as long as your body is able to cope up with it, why not burn more hours, right? Voluntarily, of course, voluntarily. You can push anybody to burn out, or put the time into the project. So don't get confused with the labor work against uh, the intellectual work, like building artificial intelligence system. You just have to have a mechanism of the models for engagement to make everybody, all the stakeholders, within the project, very happy and well focused. And always incentivize people, and always go extra mile. So project always, makes people good projects with a good team and a good due process within the project management always give a feeling of accomplishment that one would not get no matter how much they search outside. So be open for pushing the team and inviting them to sometimes burn extra hours. It's not a sin. The other part is there any, the most important thing is not the time, right? It's about the productivity. So the productivity comes out of somebody who is highly motivated and have a purpose. So best thing is keep the goal setting process more deeper, right? Go further steps into the goal setting process. Always, ask people to integrate their personal goals as part of the career goal. So, they're not going to separate their, individual goals from the career goal. They have to align. We are the same person, whether in the office we are doing the career-related work, or at home accomplishing some other things. We are the same. Okay, everywhere we go, we can separate ourselves actually. So the goals needs to be aligned. Personal, private, and career goals needs to be aligned. So bring people to to do a lot more on the goal setting side of it. And then in the spiritual side of it, right? the inner calling, right? Making people to meditation is a very vague thing to say that, oh, go and meditate, everything will be over. Because meditation is a very long process. Now, unlike people project, it's a shortcut for meditation. It takes so many years of practice. What you would need is the physical yoga exercise, and eventually that will lead to finding slowly the inner peace and take you through the process of meditation. So, out of karma yoga, right, would definitely help attachment and detachment, and then extension of hours of work can be easily achieved by the nomad versus settler model that I prescribe, as one of the 32 list of items. So, people can, beat the boredom between the work by applying the nomad settler model. Right. I would be happy to share that in-depth model if you guys would like to know more about it. The next question is from CTO of AI company. To hit our 2026 AI roadmap, I need to aggressively hire from competitors and push my team to work 70 hours sprints. This will create burnout and a toxic mercenary culture, exactly opposite of the innovation culture that we preach.